what's up, good people? Welcome to another FIREDUP KC episode. I'm your host, Z Kwanaga, and here with me I have my co-host,
Z. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be Intelligent Talk, so.
Yes, I'm super excited. So today for our guest, we have a neuroscientist, and he is the co-founder of CPA, which is an artificial intelligence agency, and he's also the founder of Heroes, which is an AI platform used to help men dealing with mental health. Today, I want to introduce you guys to Cody, Isabel.
Hello, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, super pumped up.
How you doing? How you doing?
Doing well, how are you?
Doing pretty good. It's your time on the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's always good to talk with you, brother. And meet Z, honestly.
Yes,
we never met before,
yes.
so.
New things.
So,
yeah.
But anyways, for those who don't know who Cody is, kind of give them a bio about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, yeah, so I started studying the brain when I was young. I went to school around here in Kansas City, Blue Springs specifically. There was an exhibit in my middle school that came through, got to walk through like the human body. It was like a blow-up human body.
Oh, wow.
You start at the head, and the nerves went all the way through the body, and from that point forward, I was like, what's going on here?
Right.
Where I started is everywhere.
Right.
What's happening? And then high school, I got into an advanced program where I was studying the brain even more specifically, and from that point forward, I was even more excited. Studied in college. I played college basketball, but I got 4 concussions, and so I was like right in the center of some of the research that I was doing. So with myself as a subject, and so there was kind of that combination of sports, brain, and then business, sales type stuff has kind of always been in my blood as well.
Yes.
I've been knocking doors since I was like 14, 15,
Awesome.
window siding, all that kind of stuff. Started a couple companies when I was in college, just random, like a shirt company. I think everybody has started one of those. A recruiting agency,
Right.
random things with my buddy Chris. I helped him start that one. That was just kind of doing cool stuff. Started a canvassing thing. And then I started right after school, kind of doing all the hodgepodge of things there, going into, I didn't really want to be kind of wear a white coat, be in a lab, or be a doctor. I almost went to med school, but like I didn't necessarily think like that ND type route was for me. Okay. Too much paperwork. I want to be around humans.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy in neuroscientist that really thinks everybody has a brain. Everybody can be a neuroscientist. And so that's always been my perspective in a lot of the coaching and mentoring and different things that I do with people. So I started out at Sandler. I think that's where we first met, actually.
Yes.
So I was working there for a while, and that's where I really got into business strategy and understanding how businesses come together, how sales works, how management works, all of that stuff. Did that for like 2 years, and I was the young kid in a gigantic corporation.
Wow,
It was
that's
like
awesome.
I was just like, we need to do this, we need to do that. And all these guys who have made millions and millions of dollars doing not what I think we should do, were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. I was like, ah. So it's like a giant battleship, and it takes forever to turn a battleship in the water, and I'm a speedboat guy. And so I was like, I will jump out, let's go. And so I started CBA. A year and a half, I'd say. Yeah. CBA, like the whole company.
About a year and 3 months, based on my research.
So it's been a fun time. And then Gwen and I, who's my co-founder at CPA Intelligence, she is for sure the brainiac. We call her the inventor. Like she's the pioneer, putting together new things. She's kind of the genius behind the curtains, and her and I kind of came together, and that's how we kind of started our neurotechnology company, CPA Intelligence, and that's kind of where I'm at today.
Yeah. So, how tall are you? Let people know. I know you're like really freaking tall. You are freaking tall.
Yeah, I'm 6'6". So
oh, wow.
I was power forward when I
I
played.
wish.
You are way over here.
I'm a tall guy, yep. Get that one a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's fun. That's always kind of put me in an interesting position.
Yeah.
I've always been bigger and taller, so people followed me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? For a long time,
right.
We can see.
Right. And so I was like, I don't want to be the one you guys follow. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, which I've come to find out is most of entrepreneurship and leadership in general is like Googling the answer before the meeting, and then in the meeting, everyone's like, that's the best idea ever, let's do that. I was like,
cool, right.
All right.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
It's kind of been good practice, I guess.
Yeah, so kind of give us just like a really background of like CPA Intelligence. Kind of talk to us about why the importance of your company and what do you guys help with? Like, what do you guys do?
For sure, yeah. So we're an AI consulting company is what we kind of describe. What that means today, very specifically, like our first product, is called Raven, which is a data ingestion engine.
Okay.
And so Raven stands for Rapid Annotation Variant Error Network. And so it's Raven, I know, is what that means is an AI that cleans data.
Okay.
I think the last time we talked, I was talking about how dirty data is so prevalent right now in the world, and we underestimated it. When we first started, like part of our entrepreneurial journey was learning that the hard way. We started, like AI is on a spectrum. Like this side is like truly advanced, like Tony Stark Jarvis type AI, and then on this side is like databases, like just storing data in like a hard drive type stuff, right?
Okay.
Huge spectrum.
Right.
So we started trying to sell stuff way up here, like really, really advanced AI. Like running a whole manufacturing plant on a cell phone, or different types of things, like creating a digital twin game for a manufacturer, like Farmville, if you ever played that on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
But for their manufacturing plant. Not anyone is ready for that.
Right.
And so we very, very quickly learned through the market that get out of here. Like, we don't know what the heck AI is. It scares us. No one wants to. And so we're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And so then we're having a conversation with somebody, like one of our first clients now, and we were talking about data cleaning. It was months ago that we built a data cleaning function as a part of what we do. Just because for us it's so basic. Like an AI needs to eat data for it to do anything. Just like you need to eat food, that's what an AI needs.
Yeah.
And so we made this data cleaning function that we used internally for ourselves for essentially free, because we just built it for no reason. And then this person's like, could you help us with that? And we're like, entrepreneur, what do you need? And so from that point forward, it's been kind of gangbusters. People have very specifically have a clear understanding of what data cleaning is. Like when you're talking to business owners and things, they know they've got a CRM that stores client data, first name, last name. They've got an HR software that stores it last name, first name. They've got their finance software that stores only numbers. And it's all different data. And it's all stored haphazardly, all confusing, and there's no way to make clear, do anything with that data. And so most people get that the state of their data is not very good, and manufacturers know that like really well. So that's a niche we've kind of found is manufacturing, because they have so much data they collect, but they only use like 5% of it.
Right.
And so what Raven does is comes in and aggregates that data, centralizes it all, creates a pipeline for it, cleans the data, stores the data, and then can do more advanced stuff into the future. So like a dashboard, like diagnostics, just a dashboard. How are things going, right? Because if it's usually just ones and zeros, it makes no sense.
Here's
a graph with pictures and colors.
Okay, cool.
That's what I like. And then there's things even more advanced, like machines. Sometimes they go down, and so instead of having to wait till your car's engine fails, we would send you a text that would say, hey, go this week and get this done. Because we know based on your car's data, you need to do this, right? That's like a personal example, but in a manufacturing plant, they have huge machines that need to be maintained. So those are kind of some of the things that we do.
Are you guys focusing more commercial or, personal with, dealing with people, just businesses, or?
Yeah, so it is more B2B at the current moment, more on the commercial side. We are very specifically focused on data ingestion and really helping people centralize and aggregate their data and then be able to use it more effectively. So we land with that and then expand. So land and expand is kind of the strategy. Land with data ingestion and just help them get their data right.
Organize it.
And then move on to diagnostics, like predictive machine learning, AI, up the ladder of more advanced things.
So what challenges are you facing working with businesses? Because I mean, for me, I'd be kind of scared, like, dang, I hope they don't lose any data. How do you work with that? And
just the word artificial intelligence, like what that puts, the pictures people have in their minds. Like, I'm a neuro guy. I love understanding the pictures, the sounds, the smells, all of the senses that are happening when you say certain words. That is one of the hardest things. We honestly don't internally really say AI or artificial intelligence a ton anymore because it just scares people. Like who we are working with are like I'm a Gen Z, right? But so we get it, maybe like algorithms, that's what an AI is, but that's a much scarier word as you're getting older and older and older. And a lot of these manufacturers or older people that we necessarily are talking to are not as used to it and are a little bit scared.
Right.
And so handling that and being able to simplify,
yeah,
like, is so hard. Even right now, I'll watch this back and be like, that is so confusing. It's just so hard to try. That's what we're always doing constantly as a team is that simple enough? Have we simplified? We just re-released our website to try and simplify it even more, like talking to investors and clients and just our friends and our families and trying to get it really, really simple is, I would say, a big challenge. And then security, you'd mention it, is probably another one. We use a quantum cloud, so like I said, Gwen is a quantum physicist. She does a lot with quantum physics and quantum computing and that kind of stuff. And so it's an extraordinarily encrypted environment, but still, a lot of the times manufacturers and people want pieces of what we do inside of their company, so it doesn't have to ping back and forth. And security, like every 15 seconds, there's a cyber breach. That's always huge, and that's huge on our mind. Like we will probably have to bring on like just a straight up cybersecurity developer or people like that. So
So speaking of from a layman's perspective, someone who knows nothing about AI, I think you were giving an example of like kind of what you guys do when it comes to cleaning data. In terms of giving an example of like having, if you have like selfies that are like repetitive, like AI can go there and like maybe we pick the best one. And from my perspective, I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah,
like,
I need that.
You can like be able to incorporate even like working with like something like Apple or Samsung. Or, like,
how does that work?
Give them
that would be awesome.
Right.
You know, because I think I have a bunch of pictures. I'm like, I don't even know when I'm going to delete it. You know. Have you guys ever thought of like being able to like venture into that kind of thing, or being able to give that? So I think we need that. Like, that's something that everyone needs.
Yeah, it would be cool. A lot of the times they have. It's an interesting thought because if you think about Apple or Google, right, they have cloud services.
Exactly.
The more photos you have, the more your iCloud costs.
Oh yeah, I know.
So it's advantageous if you think about it like business-wise for them to let you store as many pictures as you want. And so it's an interesting back and forth because it's like a super convenient feature that could get more people on iCloud or Google Drive or whatever it is, like OneDrive more. But it's also like people would be then storing less. So we've thought about it commercially. It seems to be like the market, manufacturers especially, and B2B gets it really easily. Algorithms, as far as like humans, seems to be like health, AI, like autocomplete, like in your emails and stuff. That type of like social media, using tons of AI, and algorithms. So we've thought about some of those things. It's just it's a hard niche to attack sometimes.
Go ahead.
What's the impact? Because you talked about how it's all that data being stored and stuff. What's the impact long term that's affecting? I'm sure I take selfies and just forget about them. So
right, yeah. I mean, so the impact, if you think about it, Gwen gave me this example the other day about how when we first started storing more data, everybody was scared, like. Where are we going to store all this? What's going to happen? Like, there's not enough servers on Earth. We'll never, right? And then the cloud came, and everyone started storing more and more and more and more and more. Well, the cloud is not some mystical thing. It is also a server, right? And so now we have gotten up where we are able to compress data so small and have enough cloud space. But now we're like we've just been talking about. Like, I think I have like 20,000 pictures. Like on my phone, right? We take for granted. iCloud used to be 99 cents. Like I got charged last night. It's $10. Like, because I'm on the terabyte plan because I've got to, right? Because we store it so simply, we don't even think about it.
Right.
And so some of the longer term impact are like bloated databases and systems that if you think your phone data is bad with just your however many selfies you have to take to get the perfect one, the blurry ones, accidental screenshots. That's just your phone. Imagine a manufacturing plant that is storing 7 million data points per day on their machines. How dirty that is. If your phone's that bad, imagine how bad it is for a manufacturer. And so people are just storing data, but it's dirty, it doesn't make sense, it's nonsensical, it's stored in random, different languages sometimes. Some manufacturers store it on like sticky notes or like they're in PDFs that are in a different language, right? It's all just a hodgepodge. And so that builds up over time and it bloats it. And so all of your historical data that you have now collected is nonsensical, confusing, and hard to do any type of analytics on. And so that's honestly one of the biggest things long term of not having good data practices, like data ingestion practices, because it just bloats you in the future and it doesn't get better. So it's like crap.
Quick follow up to that. So that's a different market when it comes to, doing that B2B. So how does that work on your part as a company, educating those? Because as a company, I feel like all data, some people, all data, I need all this. How do you educate your consumers when it comes to that?
Yeah, like demand creation. Sean Storms is a mentor and advisor of CPA, and his biggest concept, one of them, is demand creation, and one of the concepts in that is this type of education.
Right.
So a lot of our content. So Gwen, who is our data, our chief genius officer, she actually just did. We have skill shares and things like that for a company that we do.
Okay, cool.
My biggest concept as a neuroscientist is I love education, mental health and education. I'm so passionate about it.
Right.
And on the education side, skills up is my favorite way of educating people. Okay. So instead of knowledge down to skills, going from skills up to knowledge. So instead, I want to learn how to play basketball, right? So instead of sitting there reading a book, memorizing flashcards,
exactly,
I'm going to go play basketball.
Right.
Skills up to knowledge, not knowledge down to skills.
Right.
And so we have content that we put out in that way. Like Emerson, it does Networking 101, how to build a referral network. Same thing that we do for AI. So Gwen literally is putting out data cleaning practices, how to maintain data, how to store your data, what softwares are best, like all of that kind of stuff, so that people can start doing it by themselves as well, so they're in a better place when we get there.
Right.
And so we can give every piece of our knowledge almost away, because to actually do it is really, really hard, but to learn some of the basic stuff, we're down as heck to teach people. So content is one of the biggest things. Our website, like infographics, all of that kind of stuff that we put out. We've got Carter, he's our behind the camera, Baby D-Rock is what we call him.
Baby D-Rock.
I love that,
awesome.
Love that guy. But he helps us a ton kind of build that stuff. We have skill shares that we use, like it's some of the biggest things that we are trying to focus on. Gwen is focused on putting more of that type of content out. So content is really the biggest way that we try and simplify it.
Right.
Now let's shift gears a little bit, because I really want to hear about heroes, because I think that's really important. Now, when it comes to, because I think we are trying to make men be able to talk to other men, but it's like, it's the hardest thing. Now you're trying to create an AI that's going to make men talk to phones more, which is what the women are trying to make men know to do. How are you going to sell that, and how are you going to do that? How are you going to solve that problem?
It's a pride thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, the biggest thing is, I don't know if it'll be like a phone even. Like it will be, like there'll be an app and things, but the biggest thing, like Heroes, really started with the coaching that I do around cognitive behavioral neuroscience. Like that's my passion. I really love how much conceive, believe, achieve. That's what CBA stands for. And that's kind of the tenets of what I teach is conceive, which is like, what is your purpose? What is your vision, right? Happiness and purpose. Helping others find happiness and purpose is my purpose. I feel that. And that's kind of how I've defined it. And so conceive is defining that purpose. Believe is really starting to understand what is happiness. Right? People are so confused about it, but it's like happiness is a chemical cocktail in your brain. Like there are some basic brain things aligning your mind, your brain, and your body that you can do to be happier, live happier, believe happier, and then achieve, right? It's going and getting it done. Like you got to go do it. You got to take action, right? So that's the biggest thing for me is action. And so that's where Heroes kind of started, is that methodology that I've kind of developed, used, grown, and the Heroes concept comes from creating a superhero that you can use. Like the multiple self theory is what it's kind of a play on, and that's why it's called Heroes. So Frizzle is a hero of mine, right? That I can call on for her powers, her strengths, and things like that. It's from Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus.
Oh, wow.
And so I love that show, and she is a skills up lady. Like, let's not sit here and read this book. Let's fly to Pluto. Let's
learn about
shrink down and go into the human body. Like, and so Heroes came from that all of that stuff, and the coaching that I do with people, like one-on-one or in groups or seminars, coaching, that kind of stuff. And so the goal, though, is Heroes is a neurotechnology company. And so things like this little device here to measure biometrics, blood oxygen, like your sleep, your circadian rhythms, all of that kind of stuff, taking in account all of the things that are going on there, all of the things that are happening in your life, like through social media, around you, your family, your story, all of that stuff, and putting all of those things together into a system with data, right? It's data. It's the same thing. We're using the AI from CPA Intelligence, right, to build this Heroes out, except it's for humans. And so it's the goal there is to be able to have a personalized AI that can help you. Guys specifically is what our niche is right now. 20 to 30-year-old guys are like 8 times more likely to kill themselves than 20 to 30-year-old women. And I mean, the younger and younger you get, even into teens, it doesn't, even down to I think it's teens, like 12 to 13-year-olds. It's crazy. And so helping those people, that group, really talk more. And so the goal with that personalized AI is not almost so much as an app. An app will be kind of the proxy, but our goal is really to create more like a Jarvis, like a personalized AI that can be in your ear, that if you could wear some glasses and you could see what's going on, and it could talk with you and learn from you and be more personalized to you. Hey, I know because of the way you grew up in your household, you were the younger sibling, you were right? It could know all these things about your personality, your family dynamics, all these things. It can give you more tailored advice, and it allows you to talk. Guys they see Tony Stark talking to Jarvis in his Iron Man suit. They see Captain Kirk in Star Trek talking to like Data and robots. Like, it's more and more, the goal is to make it more badass to talk about the things that are going on in their minds, because a lot of times they feel like they can't, or they won't be loved, they won't be worthy, they won't feel good enough. They need to be the badass, like macho guys, and it's like, calm down. It's gonna be all right. Anxiety is a big one that I work with. Like, I have anxiety myself, and a lot of times I'm talking with the guy, and they're like, "You what?" I was like, "Yeah." You ever felt this way? And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "And this and this," and he's like, "I was like, yeah." I was like, "That is a type of anxiety, my friend." He's like, "No freaking way, man. Don't tell anybody." I was like, "Don't tell anybody, man, but you should tell some people. Like, get your tribe going." Like, anxiety can really be. It's one of my favorites because it's pretty easy to reframe, but I know people struggle with it. But so that's kind of where the passion from Heroes comes, and the goal is to create things like this. That neurotechnology can be in and on people to help them and integrate into their lives more seamlessly over time. We want to be the Apple of neurotechnology. That's what we really want to be able to do. And so just think of how the iPhone came out first. Some type of wearable will come out. Then we want to do maybe we'll sell like a old refurbished AirPods and be able to have them talk. People are always wearing AirPods. So having something in your ear while you're going through your life, it can listen to what's happening around you and talk to you. So those are kind of the steps that we're going through right now. It will start as an app for sure, but the goal is really to get to more of a fluid, like a digital twin of yourself that you can talk to, essentially. So
that's interesting. Cool, because my chair is like turning, and I'm like too short to like get down here and like not make it noticeable. God.
I think that's in your shot right there, brother. It's in your shot.
Oh. All right. Did you have a question, Z? Or?
I did. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I just want to say, like, what struggles have you, or with the app or whatever you're trying to do with the Heroes, like, what are some struggles not struggles, but like, what are some, what do you call those?
Roadblocks?
Yes, roadblocks that you're facing when it comes to, okay, I got it, cool.
Right.
Let me turn my chair.
2, 1.
Awesome. So what are some roadblocks that you're kind of facing when it comes to developing that system?
Yeah, for sure, time.
Yeah.
That's 90+% of my time is on CPA Intelligence at the current moment. That is like the goal. That's our for-profit company. Heroes is an L3C, so it's a for-profit nonprofit.
Okay.
It's just time. Like, it just takes time for me to not only get some of the things that I've learned and taught and think into a system that is teachable and appable, right? So, and just spending the time there that I need to. We're about ready to do a raise for CPA Intelligence as well, so we're going to be very focused on that. And so hero coaching I do with my internal team at CPA Intelligence. Everyone gets hero coaching.
Right.
And getting that slowly, getting to spend more time just tinkering with it, growing it, building it, having that time to develop it is probably one of the larger roadblocks that I would say. And then manufacturing will be a huge one. I don't know, like manufacturing, supply chains, like all of this, like materials and stuff is not simple. And so it's advantageous right now, honestly, because CPA Intelligence, like one of our primary targets is manufacturers. Like, I don't know if you there could be a recession, manufacturing still happens. There could be a natural disaster, manufacturing still happens. There could be a war, manufacturing still happens, right? So, like, we're pretty, like, being able to attack a niche like that and help in that world, it will allow us to have a pretty consistent, like, niche that we can focus on. They are going to stay in business probably, and then being able to make partnerships there, because manufacturing our own devices will be hard. We want to be vertically integrated where we are making our own things. We'll probably have to piecemeal it at first, like getting refurbished AirPods and selling one or two, like something like that, to like just kind of jerry rig it. But I would say those are kind of two of the big ones.
Have you thought about, because I mean, thinking about it, I know there's a lot of people struggling with that, and that's a lot of data as well. So how are you configuring and making sure that the right data is collected and stuff like that to kind of help them get through that mental health and stuff like that?
Yeah, research. There's tons of research out there about the types of data that is available, and then we are creating some of our own metadata as well. So metadata is just data on data, right? So you have something called metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. So metadata is just data on data.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so you've got social media data, health data, biometric data. You've got all these different types of data that are around you. Psychographic data, like if you've ever taken a Myers-Briggs or a Strength Finder, right? That's psychographic data. And then it's creating data on that data. So what does that data mean, right? So if this person is in this career, with this job, with this psychographic, this biometric, this age, this, right? And starting to make correlations on those things is just research, trial and error a little bit, honestly, and seeing what's out there to be able to use. What have people done? So it's a lot of research, and like just straight up trial and error, like Facebook, like Instagram, all of these technology companies you think of, Apple, they test and retest and grow and shift and change. That's kind of our strategy as well.
So what are some core things that you're wanting to implement? I mean, because for me it sounds like a personal friend to an extent. What are some things that you are, implementing to make sure they're staying good on their mental health and stuff like that?
Yeah, so some of the things that we'll check-ins are one of the easiest ones I think about. I talk about something called the belief wheel. It was a really easy mental check-in. It's like, what are some of the results that you're getting currently, good or bad, right? So if someone is anxious or depressed, those are just like really common like mental struggles. And if they're getting can't get out of a bed type of struggle if they're depressed, or they have been having anxiety attacks. Like let's say they have like some type of social anxiety is a pretty common one for younger people. That's a result they're getting. And so then I'm like, okay, it's a giant circle, right? So result here, belief is up top. What is the belief that is tied to that result? It's like I can't talk to people, I'm not confident, I'm not pretty, I'm not smart, or I'm not good enough, whatever that belief might be, right? That could lead to that result. Then what feelings and thoughts does that cause, right? So that makes me think that I can't go out in public, I can't go talk to people, I can't give my opinion, I can't speak up, right? Those are thoughts. And then feelings, I'm anxious, I'm feeling my chest gets tight, my breathing gets shallow, right? Those are the feelings, right? And then those feelings and thoughts cause actions. So you've got beliefs, or results, beliefs, feelings and thoughts, and actions down the bottom. And so then the actions are where you have agency, right? The stuff above that is your will. And in action, you get to take an act of will. Like, I will do this. That like that's something different than, oh, I guess I could do that. Not the same.
Exactly.
Will you do it?
Right.
Big difference. And so Ramon Coriolis is huge on this. I freaking love his wisdom coaching, and that's where I kind of get it from, is that active will. And so right in that moment, that's when you really get to change, right? So if you are having an anxiety attack or you're having a hard time getting up in the morning, right? So what is the action that you could get a different result? So if you just take that action, action creates motivation, right? That's how it works in your brain. If you can take an active will and get up, right? That's one place that you could start to attack. And so once you're up, then you got a different result. So what does that tell your brain?
Right.
It's like, oh, I got up. Maybe I am a morning person. Maybe I'm not.
Right.
I can do this, right? And those beliefs start to shift.
Oh, yeah.
Then new beliefs give you new feelings and thoughts. I can do this. I am confident enough. I can get up. I'm feeling motivated, right? And then it makes it easier to take another action.
Right.
New results, new beliefs, right? And it goes around.
Wow.
And so checking in on that stuff is a really easy kind of but most people are familiar with that mental check-in, whatever you want to call it, right? You can call it a mental check-in. You can call it the mental workout is something that I've sometimes, that's more for like the followers, basketball athletes and stuff. But just taking a moment to touch base on those areas, and sometimes people have very apparent feelings and thoughts that they're having. I was like, okay, what actions did that lead you to take?
Right.
Oh, it took me to take these actions. I didn't go out. I was like, okay, and so then you felt a little bit depressed because you have no friends, you can't go out.
Right.
But if you're not going out, taking the action of going out and getting in front of people, you will always have that result.
Right.
So, and sometimes they'll say, well, I have this belief, I'm not good enough, right? And I was like, okay, so what feelings and thoughts? And it just, in that circular nature, like, that's just what our brains work on. And so that's a really easy place. That wheel is a really good place to like just listen to your next conversation. Think, ask, like just talk to them, listen, ask them questions. Are they feelings and thoughts? Are they giving you beliefs? Are they talking about an action they did or did not take? Or are they talking about results they've given you? Or that they have been getting or not been getting. I want to lose weight, right? I want to start doing this. I want to stop doing that. I want to do more of this. I want to do less of that. I want to keep doing this, right? Those are all results.
Exactly.
Almost every conversation you have with someone, I promise, if you pause, it will be in those areas.
Wow. Wow.
Now, man, this has been a very, very educated episode. But before I go to the end of the show, I think when I think about CPI heroes, I'm thinking, especially heroes, I'm thinking of therapy in your pocket, right? I'm thinking of like therapy on your watch or in your ear.
Yes.
I don't know if this is intentional based on the year we've had, which was 2020, where it was like a high rate of depression, anxiety, high rate of suicide. But I think at this age and time, also when social media has a big influence on people's lives, I think we need something like this to help people with their mental health. Right. So I think you guys are definitely doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
But before we go to the end of the show, how can people get in touch? How can people kind of get to know what you guys are doing or what you guys got going on next?
Yeah, website's always a really good one to go to. There's two of them, obviously. I'm huge on, I love LinkedIn. I'm all over that place. Twitter, Instagram, any social media. Cody Isabel CBA is my handle. And then the websites are cbai.tech or cbaneurotech.io. So those are kind of two websites. CBA Neurotech is Heroes. We just haven't changed the domain yet, Startup Life. And then CBAI Tech is the Raven, where our Raven product is kind of held. So.
Awesome.
Okay, so before we end the show, let's play a game. Because I know you're big into networking.
I do.
Let me ask
I do dabble in the networking.
Which is, where can I go to get connected?
Where can you go to get connected?
Yes.
The Loop KC.
Loop KC.
Easy.
Okay,
Easy, bro. Emerson Hodis is the founder of the Loop, and it's a young professionals. It's for people just like us, 20s,
Awesome.
people in their 20s, born in the 90s, whatever. There's tons of events. Last week they had a Halloween party. There's all sorts of cool stuff. But it's for those people that are not just big thing for me when I got out of school was some friends who were still in college, but they were in the professional world. Some people who are way too professional, and not a lot of people who can have some fun but still get some business stuff done. And so that's kind of what I found at the Loop. It's been fun. I've been there I think 2 or 3 years now. Emerson and I met a while ago. I'm on the leadership team now. Even we've expanded to multiple cities, Des Moines, Scottsdale, all over the place. So I would say the Loop, you can reach out to Emerson, reach out to me, Mary Crow, Ryan Carter. Any of those people can help you kind of get involved in the Loop. We're always down to invite people to events and stuff. So that's like the best place to go to get connected, I'd say.
Awesome. You have any more questions, Z?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, this has been a fantastic episode. Thank you guys who are watching from wherever you are for tuning into the FIREDUP KC show. You know what to do. Subscribe at YouTube, FIREDUP KC, Spotify, or you can go to Roku at Kim Young TV Network. And do not give up. I'm your host, Z Wanganga, and I have my co-host,
Z.
And hey, stay fired up, don't give up, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.